Hi, this is Bruce Buffer, your voice of the Octagon, and you're listening to MMA Mental.
Okay, we are now joined by Bellator finalist Brett Cooper. Brett is coming off a massive victory just over a week ago against Dan Kramer with a knockout by punches in round 3. It was an absolutely back and forth fight. It's fair to say a come from behind victory. First of all, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure. And secondly, congratulations. What a fight.
Yeah, it was quite a tough experience. Yeah, I was lucky to listen to my corner in the third round and come back and just pretty much go for the finish, and luckily it went my way.
I mean, you are on at the minute a hell of a run, and you've beat some really good fighters. Obviously, most of your recent fights, of course, have been for Bellator. But I mean, that was a really tough fight. I mean, Dan Kramer was there to go all the way. I mean, it was very back and forth, wasn't it?
Yeah, he really, what do you call it? He did his game plan really well. He planned well. He really practiced on neutralizing what I was going to do. And so, after I lost the first 2 rounds, I had to pretty much throw that game plan out the window and just go for broke, go for the knockout and go for the finish. And he's a great fighter, and he made it a great fight for both of us, and yeah, I mean, I'm just happy to get the W.
Did you definitely know then going into that third round that you were down the 2 rounds?
I thought I lost the first round for sure. The second round I probably lost. It was closer than the first round. So yeah, I knew I had to finish.
I mean, obviously I was watching it as a fan, and I genuinely felt that he had won the first 2 rounds, and it just made the win that even better, because it literally was a come from behind. I mean, you could have dominated that third round, but if you didn't get the stoppage, it looked like you were going to lose the decision. It just made it that much more impressive.
Yeah, totally.
Dan's a tough guy. I mean, we've seen him. He's fought in the UFC as well. He's a very very good fighter.
Yeah. No, he trains with a great camp. He's got his coaches, Ricardo Laborio, they're an American Top Team. They really know their stuff. So, yeah, it was a really good win for me. He's a really good guy, and I'm sure he'll be back.
Now, of course, I mean, the other semi-final was just as dramatic as well. Not so much with the finish, but it was a very back and forth fight. You had one guy who was looking to wrestle and was controlling the fight, and of course you had Doug, who was literally throwing strikes from everywhere. And a lot of people weren't sure how that fight was going to go. I mean, I was watching it, and I thought that if there's any justice, Doug would get the win, just because he was much more aggressive. The guy Doug was fighting was literally running out of steam and was looking to control him. You were obviously watching the fight. How did you feel that the fight went?
Initially, I thought Sultan won. Initially, I thought he won, but really, that's not my area. That's not the decisions I make. So I fight who they put in front of me, and Doug was the one that ended up getting the win that night, and that's how it goes.
Yeah, I think a lot of people felt that Sultan would, and I think even Doug was surprised when he was given the decision, because he was almost, before the decision was called out, he was almost being apologetic to the fans. He had no reason to be, but he was almost being apologetic to the fans. But I think he was surprised with the victory as well. I think it's going to be a very, very exciting fight as well between you and Doug. How do you feel about the final?
I think it's going to be a good fight. I'm not afraid of him anywhere in the game. I feel like I can stand with him, and I think it's going to be I don't know, it's going to be exciting for sure. But I'm always looking to go in there and make a smart fight and get the win. But it's with the way he fights, it seems like it's going to be an exciting fight no matter what. So like I said, I'm going to fight the fight everywhere, and we'll see how it goes.
I think it's definitely going to be an exciting fight, and I think as well at the start of this tournament, I don't think many people. I think people could have seen you in the final, but I don't think many people would have seen Doug in the final. Does that kind of add any extra pressure? I think I think it's fair to say you're going to be the favourite going in. Do you feel that going into the fight?
Yeah, I don't really, when it comes to things like that, favorites and underdogs, to me that means nothing. So I mean, a fight is a fight. Anybody can beat anybody. So when you think of it like that, all that pressure of, oh, I'm the favorite or this and that means nothing. That's all betting odds and things like that. That concerns me none. I've been underdog in big fights and I've come out and won and it's not, to me, there's no underdog in a fight. Obviously people are gonna consider one guy better or whatever. But, towards the beginning of the fight, you kind of see people walking around the lobby. You kind of see people, here and there in the fight, and you can see who's really focused and who's not there for, just to be cool or whatever. And the two guys that I saw that were pretty fought and looked like they were there to fight, there to get the job done was, Dan Kramer and Doug Marshall. So, I fought Dan. It was a tough fight, and now I have to fight Doug. So, I can say I wouldn't say you'd be surprised. I mean, he's a guy. He has a lot of power, and he really comes to slug it out. And his first fight he won because the guy tried to slug with him, and whammo, he got hit with a good right. And then this last fight, I mean, he pretty much just came forward the whole time, and that's why he won. So. Yeah, I don't consider him an underdog or, things like that. It's just, I just look at him at his skills and what he brings to the table, and that's what I'm going to, try to implement my game plan off of.
I think that's the right thing. I think it's fair to say anybody that makes the final in any Bellator tournament is obviously tough because there's no easy fights with the Bellator tournaments. I mean, we've seen that this year in some of the other weight classes with some of the shocks that we've had. So you can never discount anybody that's won 2 fights to make it to the final.
Yeah, I mean the tournament style is tough. You don't really. It's really hard to. Normally your fights, you got like maybe 3 months in between each fight. This fight you got, you probably got about 4 weeks, and so it's tough, man. It really makes the experience. Luckily, I have experience with fights back to back. So in 2011. I had 3 fights in 3 months, so that kind of let me figure out, what worked for me and what didn't. So, yeah, it's a tough thing.
Now, I want to talk a little bit about what got you into MMA and then talk about some of your personal career highlights. But before I ask you about that, obviously this has been a big year for Bellator. You've moved over from one TV station to another, which is obviously put you on a much bigger scale. Obviously, talking about the move to Spike TV. Can you tell me, as a fighter for Bellator Fighting Championship, what impact has the move to Spike had on you personally?
Well, it's obviously great. When you're on Spike TV, it's a really big channel. It's on pretty much every major cable company. DirecTV, et cetera. So just by being that, you reached a lot of homes. And the ratings for, Bellator have been around 1 million each show, which is great. So around 1 million people, are seeing you every time you fight. So just that, occasionally, usually only hardcore fans would see me, walking around. They might notice me here and there, but lately, since my last couple of fights, I've been walking in, bar and grill and people are like, hey, do I know you? And this and that. And so I kind of been being noticed a little more. Also, it's just, financially it's more stable because, you're under a bigger company, Viacom, they're the majority mother company of Bellator and they kind of, just by the fact of their financial backing, it makes it that much better. The Bellator can support you in ways that they couldn't before. And they have a lot of great people that work for them, a lot of good guys. They have that, every event we go to, they always make us comfortable, make sure we're ready, or make sure, if we need anything that they're there for us. All in all, I think it's just the move to Spike pretty much just made Bellator, a more stable, better company, and obviously, guys that are competing for Bellator, they're looking to make money because it's a job, and And if you can make more money by moving to Spike, there you go, whammo. So, the money's better, the treatment's better, and the exposure's better. So that's three pluses for you.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. And there's 2 points I wanted to pick up on there. You talk obviously about the exposure. Obviously, the thing you mentioned there was about being noticed by more people. Is that something you like?
I'm kind of indifferent to it. I really could care less either way. I realize that the more popular you get, the more people are you going to notice. But either way, I just try to take the positives from it. I think that's great. People ask you for autographs, and you got kids coming up asking for autographs. For me, that's great. I kind of, if kids want to, I want to be a good example, for people. I don't want to be that guy that's like getting in trouble, always getting arrested and things like that. I want to be a good athlete, show people, you can be an honest person, a good honest person, and be an athlete and make money, and so with the extra exposure and people come up to me, I just take that as a positive. So if they come up to me, hey man, it's okay, thank you. They say, oh, I saw your fight, that was good, this and that. So, oh man, I appreciate it, thank you. So it's good to see people, really enjoy the performance you put on and appreciate the skills that you put the hard work into to have.
Now the other thing, other point I wanted to pick up on was you mentioned there about Spike TV, and the averaging is you're getting about 1 million views. What kind of views? Do you know what kind of views Bellator was getting on their previous channel?
I really don't know. I think it might have been half of what they're getting now.
That's massive, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I think they doubled, maybe tripled what they were getting, which is pretty huge when it comes to ratings. I'm really not positive on the specifics, but if I had to guess, I would say double or triple. It's just Spike TV is just such a more watched channel, bigger channel than MTV2, and all the other channels they were on. So yeah, I think that's about double.
That's fantastic. It's obviously great for the guys at the fight because more exposure is going to mean more sponsorship, more people want to see your fight. So it's just good all round. So you've been fighting for a long time. You started fighting in 2005. Can you tell me what got you what made you want to get into mixed martial arts?
Yeah, I always played athletics growing up, the normal sports here, soccer, baseball, and hockey, and I always was intrigued by martial arts movies and combat movies and things like that, and I always felt like I was connected in a certain way, But being really busy with all the sports, it was hard to do any kind of martial arts training growing up or doing it in classes. So I started taking a liking to really getting books and videos and things probably beginning of high school, probably about 13 years old, and then finally I got my first car at 17 years old, and that's when I started training with Tracy Hess. That was 2004. Started training, and then 2005 probably. Started training, and then right away fought. Didn't really know what I was doing, but I knew I wanted to fight, so I just went in there and kind of learned trial by fire, and then kind of went on my way. And the journey has led me to here now.
It's been like you say, the journey. It's been a fantastic journey. Can you give me?
Yeah.
I mean, you've been fighting for a few years. Other than your current run in Bellator, obviously you say you're on a crazy run at the minute. You've won so many fights in a row. Pre-Bellator, have you got any personal highlights of any of your biggest wins before you joined Bellator?
I would say my two biggest highlights were two underdog fights. One was when I fought Roy Markham in the IFL. I fought him on 2 weeks' notice, and they just brought me in to get beat up by this guy. And at the time he was top 10 at 170 pounds in the world, and they brought me in, and everybody kind of counted out, but I knew I trained real hard, and this was just kind of my chance to get in there and get noticed. And so I went in there, and I luckily had a tough first round, and then the second round I came and got the knockout. And then also I fought Sergio Moraes in a fight in Jungle Fight in Brazil. This fight was also a week and a half notice, so it was also a really tough fight. This guy was one of the only guys ever to submit Rickson Gracie's son, Kron Gracie, in jiu-jitsu competition. And I went in there and, the first round again, I lost first round. He took me down and, had my back, mounted me, pretty much did everything you could in the book. And then luckily by the end of the round, I got on top. And then second round, he couldn't take me down anymore. And then I knocked him out like right at the end of the second round. So I would say those are two highlights I remember, pre-Bellator that are, pretty sweet in my head. There are two tough experiences that, I really learned a lot from.
And they're both two well-known names as well. I mean, Rory Markman had a good run in the UFC, and I remember his head kick knockout in the UFC. Of course, he was big in the Oyabal days, like you said as well. And of course, Sergio Moraes was from the Ultimate Fighter Brazil, and he's currently in the UFC as well. And he's known for his BJJ, isn't he? So he's a very dangerous guy. Okay, you've also had a hell of a run in Bellator, and you've beat some great names. Even during your Bellator fights, you've had fights outside of Bellator, and you've beat some big names as well. What are your highlights since Bellator?
Bellator, everybody I've beat has been a highlight in Bellator, I think. Since I've been with Bellator, I think I've fought outside. The only time I've fought outside was, I fought Keith Berry one time, and then I won by knockout, and then I fought Joe Dorkson, in Canada, which he's a veteran. He's one of those guys that he has more fights than almost anybody, and he's fought pretty much everybody. He's tough, he's good everywhere, and luckily, I was able to get that one by knockout. I would say every fight, man. It's every fight in Bellator is tough. It's a tough organization, and you're not going to have an easy fight. It's everybody's getting better. They're starting to pick up a lot of talent. It's just ever since I've been here, I would say everything's a highlight. I take every fight as I'm fighting the best guy in the world, and if I win, then that's kind of I'm happy with that.
And you've done absolutely amazing. Like I said, you've been on a hell of a run. I think I was just looking at your resume here. You've got 6 wins in a row, which is just fantastic. Like you say, not just 6 wins, but 6 wins at at a high level as well, especially with your tournament wins as well. Well, I want to say a huge thank you. I know we had a bit of a mess around the interview, which was obviously down to my side. So I really appreciate you being patient and giving me your time. It's been a pleasure to chat with you.
No problem. I appreciate the interview. Thank you.
We wish you all the luck for the final against Doug Marshall. That's going to be a hell of a fight. And before we let you go, just want to give you a chance to do any shout outs. Want to shout out any friends, family, sponsors, and let people know about your Facebook and your Twitter as well.
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter at Brett Cooper. At Brett Cooper MMA, Facebook, same thing, Brett Cooper MMA, and also I would just like to thank my training partners at Team Marine, everybody there, you know who you are, my wife, Lana, my little baby, Penelope, little 6-month-old girl, just my family, everybody that supports me, I really appreciate it, and then a couple of my sponsors, Future Legend. That's the only thing that rings a bell right now. But just everybody that supports me. If I forgot any names, I'm sorry. But that would be it. Thank you.
Lovely. Thank you very much for your time today, Brett. And hopefully we'll get you on again in the future as well. We'll have another chat with you.
All right, sounds good. Thanks, Ray.
Thanks, Brett. Bye.
All right. Bye bye.